Soviet Union, they gave him this and they gave him that, and he didn't die. That ain't the way it is. If the Soviet Union gave you, radiated you, or gave you all of the stuff that they got, you just die. That's the way it is. If they gave it to you, the Western Europeans, they gave you enough to make it look like that the Soviets did it, or the Russians did it, right? And to blame them. But the people was dropping. The last one that had something like that was about 20 years ago. Somebody said the guy took Shahada. This is a white man. Yeah, from Europe. Hey, man, that boy was laid up in the hospital and he just laid up and died. That's it, finished. So if they give you some of those things they give you, they can't stop it. Once they give it to you, they got a couple of things they give you, they could reverse it. But a lot of that stuff, you're just gone. You're half falling out and you're dying. And everywhere you go and touch something, you're going to leave a trail behind, right? All they got to do is touch you with it. Suppose we were not spiritually inclined, not saintly inclined. You would go home and close your door and take a rest. Or you would say, hey, I'm going to get me a big house, a big this, that, because ain't nothing else you can do. That's what you would do if you were not spiritually inclined. Because they scare everybody to death. Look what they did now. Everybody. Every time you listen to the news, Black Lives Matter now has a new policy, a new program. Well, they didn't have one when we was going down there. They didn't have nothing. We went out there for weeks telling them that. And they ain't had no program and didn't want to hear it. Now, the first thing you hear on RT and all of them, now they know what they want to do. Nobody had time to think for a week or so or a few days or listen to somebody and they say, hey, that sounds right. We're just out here running around. And it's all hooked up. And Iran was coming over here. When I say Iran, I do not mean the government. The government of Iran is on a roll. They are the accelerated, their foreign ministry and is good. There's a few things they got to straighten up. They got to straighten them up. It's not me saying it. Soleimani told them. He said, you can't have this division. You know, the vision he was giving was the same vision. It's like we was homeboys. He told them the same thing that I was telling them. Okay? They are surrounded by U.S. agents, and they still haven't broke the back. Hey, man, those martyrs that they gave up at the first part of the war, their credibility is carrying the Islamic Republic right on through. But eventually, you got to tighten yourself up, you know. So we have never been against the Islamic Republic. We've been against some of the policies. And we said, it's been 10, 15 years ago, we said clearly, first time was 2007, whatever, that's 14 years, something like that. This is a while back. We was already very clear that number one, we are supporters of the Islamic Republic, but we're not supporters of these people, non-vilayati faqih type people. The craziest thing in the world would be for them to have different cliques within themselves. But that's a problem that they had after establishing the Islamic government. After you establish an Islamic government among Shias, what are you going to do? They never will answer. They won't even bring the subject up. What do you do with marjiyat? The marjas, the big Shia leaders around the world, 4, 5, maybe 10 of them. Before that kept the unity and the focus. It's a leader that they have, like some people in this country, some another. Maybe 2 or 3 in one country. But that's a system, the marja. But what about when you get an Islamic State, the Shia? Now what are you going to do with marjiyat? Well, the other Shias may be mad at you, and they may say it's haram to have an Islamic government until the return of Imam Mahdi, right? And they might play games. And that's the common belief until Imam Khomeini come along and does this walayati faqih, the rulership of a just faqih, and he brings it out. It's in Shia literature, but it's not heavy. And walayati faqih, they have all kinds of wilaya, Anyway, we'll deal with some of that on the 13th of next month. Let's continue. May Allah make it halal. That's a great spiritual saying that somebody has stolen from you, and you don't run around saying, well, who stole my toe? Man, that ain't right. No, you say, may Allah make it halal for them. They stole it. Well, maybe they put on the shoes and didn't know they was theirs. It's possible. So we say, may Allah make it halal for them. Okay, what makes us different from one of these great imams in the past? Is Imam Ghazali and those other people beyond our reach? You got to think about that. Are those people beyond our reach? Suppose we deal in our time with things that they was dealing with then, would we wind up on the same level or higher than they did? It's a question. We say absolutely. We have to remember, we're good as anybody else. If we get the same hand as somebody else was dealt and we play it better than them, what does that tell you? It's not better but for the time in which you live. And other people may smell that. It was over 20 years, it was 25 years, something like that, when Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui made his statements. I didn't even remember those statements. I might have went to the restroom or something and I came back later. But I didn't know why everybody was looking funny at me when I just made the talk. Then Dr. Siddiqui came up and everybody was, then later on he said, what? And then I didn't remember again until we was here a few years ago, how deep it was. I said, he did say that. Well, then now I see why these guys are acting funny. He didn't told them, this guy here. And you got to remember, the other guys, Zafar, Muhammad Al-Asi and them, they treated Dr. Siddiqui different. They pretended like but they thought they knew more than him. Zafar didn't, but they thought they had got the game. Now, I used to walk with Dr. Siddiqui and do all of that. And he used to it was like two strange friends. The same thing was with Dr. Algar. I don't know if y'all maybe don't know. But all of those type of people that was like that, they would say, this guy here is all right here. I don't know, I think Dr. Algar said something about me and some. We was at Berkeley, and he was talking about when me and him was in Shiraz, the plane couldn't land and there was big snow in Iran, and we couldn't land in Tehran, and so Shiraz is nice, good weather and everything, desert thing, near Persepolis. So anyway, I was wondering why all the big people, see, if you got little people and big people. The little people will be jealous of you. And the big people will like you. Now, all the big people in the movement, we was all homeboys. I mean, Allama Zakzaki, all those, they were all, no matter what little different thing we was dealing with in our own environment, we was home folks. And that's rare. I mean, everybody is friendly with each other. But why, even Muhammad Al-Asi, when he first heard me speak up at a program in Canada, he said, "You got a gift, don't lose it." And I was saying to myself, I sure don't intend to. Whatever gift I got, I intend to improve it. You know, I mean, that's what I was saying to myself. So anyway, the process of analysis, the process of coming to certain conclusions with so much of the facts. See, sometimes you might have 100% of the facts, not 100%, say 80% of the information. And you come to a reasonable conclusion. Some people may have 30%, and they make the right conclusion almost all the time. That's a gift. It's a gift. It ain't. But a gift comes, and I'll talk about this a little later when we close the camera down. The gifts come, and if you take heed to your gifts, just like Allah said, if you're appreciative and thankful and grateful, I'm going to hook you up and give you more. What does that mean? You're going to get better, smarter, and you're going to become good. That's good. And to them, goodly is saintly, right? But nobody thinks of the Negro. Just think about it. If there's one thing you wouldn't call one of the big brothers in America, Negroes, it's saintly. You just wouldn't say it. You know, there's no reason to say that. You won't even use Arif for anything. Now you might use it for some guy, white guy like, what's his name? Hamza Yusuf. Oh, Arif. Oh, he's out there. You know, look, we're not racist, but everybody else is though. Tell the truth. The people are racist, man. And we don't hold it against them. They're racist. If they get past that, that's fine. Then they're cliquish. And at sometimes you get your clique together, it's good. And at other times, being a part of a clique is bad. To be a part of a clique in Iran now, with the whole world trying to squash you, right? Constantly. It ain't no, we're going to do it this week and that. We're going to roll on you from sun up to sundown every day. Okay. So let me continue. So a good person, a religious founder, a zealot, somebody that's got zeal for something, saintly policies, saintly procedures. And what we talk about is the evolution of the soul. We've been talking about it almost every week. We talk about that authority and power to do good. And we talk about all those subjects for us. None of these are new subjects. These are all subjects that we've been dealing with. But we're in a certain transformational period right now. See, we're not standing still. No matter what anybody else is doing, if they're working for the government, they're standing still. Because all government jobs are still. You don't move up but a little bit. They say if you work for the government, you'll get 1 year's experience 30 times over. Right, doing your job. You stamp this, you do that, and you'll know how to do it perfectly. After 30 years, you won't have 30 years of experience. You'll have 1 year experience, 30 years over. Because you get experience by doing all kind of things, right? The government don't, if you come in the government, your assignment, if you black, your assignment is niggas. You go over there with your niggas. That's all your assignment. You can't follow white folks around and sit there. One, they're not going to let you be around them. And two, you'll look out of place. You know what I mean, right? So that's not your job. So it's like one of my relatives that was going to university. They said, yeah, the FBI came to us and said, we want you to keep what they interpreted as an eye on the brothers, because this was a female relative. They said, well, we can't do it. They wanted us to just keep an eye on